All right, folks, welcome back to the Be the Bright podcast presented by Ridge Supply. My name is Matt Hawkins, owner of Ridge Supply. I'm here with Jordan Spoon, the man behind our Arsenal account for Instagram, which is our ambassador group. And this is our special guest for episode 3 with Sheldon Thompson, the main man builder behind Rodeo Labs bikes and also an Arsenal member as well. So Sheldon is out in Denver, Colorado. Welcome, sir.
Stoked to be back.
Good.
For another round.
Episode 3. We've been diving into a little bit into our Silverton trip, which is such a big event.
I think we could probably do 10 episodes of just Silverton. It was so good.
Yeah, it's hard to describe it to everybody. Because you see pictures, but if the film ever sees the light of day, which I'm sure it will, but when it does, I'm going to watch it more than anybody just because I'm going to relive it,
Yeah.
But it'll be neat to see it from that angle. It's like a bird's eye view. And
I was definitely jealous from seeing the pictures and hearing the stories. And I know Matt and I have talked about it. I mean, after hearing and seeing all that, that looks like probably some of the best riding you can go do.
It really is. Just riding in the mountains period is fun, but there's something special about the San Juans. And I've even told Steven this, especially since that was my first time in the San Juans. I was like, this is rodeo. This is why rodeo exists.
Yeah.
And it really is. Like, our bikes were made in the San Juans, which I think is super rad. And so going back there and taking a crew with us was just amazing, so everyone could see it.
Yeah, and I'd seen so many. You see pictures of people on these peaks, and it's common to see them. And the thing that none of those pictures do is that when you're on these peaks, it's 360 degrees around, and you're not close to those other peaks that you see. And that is what blew the top of my mind off on that first day. I'll never have a bike experience like that first day when we got to the top of the first thing. We've been climbing for 3 hours or something ridiculous. The views that we had were great, but we didn't have the mountaintop view. And all of a sudden we get this mountaintop view. And I think it was the second, what I'm talking about is the second pass that we did. We did California, I think. And you get up to California, and even it is a little bit of a weird kind of, you're not quite there. There's something that's like another 50 feet up. And so we climbed up there, and you look around, and it was just stupid. And it was totally stupid. I was so giddy. I was taking iPhone videos and sending them to my wife and kids. And I was taking, GoPros. But the experience of actually being there and seeing that stuff is probably why people climb mountains. It's why people ride bikes. It's why all those trails are so active with 4x4s and side-by-sides, is because the views are ridiculous,
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't be there on the drop bar bike. That's one of the brilliant things about rodeo, is those bikes. It
takes a special kind of person to ride it, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and I was talking to Steven recently about going back and how I want to go back, but I want to bring people with me so I can experience them experiencing it for the first time. That's the thing would be so rewarding. I think he had that secretly, seeing all of us geek out and freak out about it, that he got to watch that. And he was real cool about it. Like, oh yeah, it's no big deal, but I know it was wild to watch, because Justin was the same way. We couldn't believe it. So.
Yeah. And there's so much more out there to ride that we didn't even touch, which is crazy. I mean, we'll look at the maps and it's just like, is this a trail? Is this a road? What is this? There's just a lot of unexplored out there. There's tons of like really good mountain bike trails out there too.
Yeah.
That we could easily jump on and just go all over the place.
Yeah. We rented side-by-sides for a day and we did some filming, but we did a lot of driving too. And you'd be surprised that the side-by-side does make up a decent amount of ground, but it's still, you're kind of limited on what you can accomplish in a day because you can't really drive fast on those roads.
Right.
But I can imagine having a rig, like I could go there for the summer, plunk the shout out to Can-Am, send me the Maverick.
That gold one, right? You want that gold
That's
one?
Right. I want that gold Maverick. And have a bike on there and actually like, you know, drive in 15 miles and then ride for a while and then come back.
Right.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
A way to experience it, because it's just downright hard to get anywhere in there. You got to earn like every pedal stroke.
For sure. And a little background on this Can-Am thing. We came across down in this like little river valley. We came across this beautiful gold and black Can-Am. And I thought Matt and the Can-Am needed its own room. Like,
do you remember what happened?
It was so ridiculous.
We actually saw this like 50s truck that was
that thing was rad,
hand hammered, and it was going one way and the Can-Am was going the other way, and we were standing there and they started talking to each other. It was like a scene out of a movie, and here we were at this riverbed and we were just like, what's going on?
It was so rad.
And so but there's so much side-by-side love out there, and it's really like it's what they were built for in a lot of ways. You know, that's where
it's definitely playground.
So tell me, recount our big day. And cause we went to Ouray and we parked.
Yep.
Give me a play-by-play on what you remember, and you can, I'm not diming out, the climb from Imogene, just the day itself, because it was beyond epic, right?
It was beyond epic. Probably to this day, still the hardest day on a bike I've ever had.
Yeah.
Cause we started in Ouray and we did, I think it was Red Mountain Pass is what it was called. And it was just a paved climb. Yeah. It's a paved climb. But I mean, that paved climb, took us 2 hours to do?
Yeah, it's like 6 or 7%, but it's a long ride.
It's a long haul. And all along this is mines, like old mining stuff, and it's really cool. And then we finally get to the pass, and then we do Black Bear Pass, which just YouTube it. That's all you have to do is YouTube Black Bear, and it is gnarly. Like,
and there's like Black
2
Bear
days
going
ahead.
Going up to Black Bear to the summit of Black Bear Pass.
Right. Yeah. So the summit of Black Bear, and it's
so steep.
It's burly. I mean, it is very burly.
Lots of walking.
Yeah, steep, not rideable, barely drivable. But it's gorgeous. Like, the sections we did ride were amazing. So we get to top of Black Bear, and we have lunch and stuff, and then we try to figure out how to get out of there. And then we went up to that peak, that high point. I don't remember what that was called.
So we were there at the Black Bear Pass sign. We did pictures, and then we descended off, and it's kind of like in a canyon almost, or like, I don't know, like a bowl, and it's crazy steep. And I don't know if you remember, but the top section of that was the stuff that was so gnarly, like long straight down, and then a switchback, and the switchback would always be like, it would be hard to slow down and stop to get enough speed scrubbed.
And we rode that scree field too, which was so sketchy.
Just and then we got down to above the waterfall, which is the sketchiest part of Black Bear, and we knew Nate, is it Nate? Yeah, Nate, right?
Gabe.
It's not Nate. I was like, that's not right. I was thinking about Narwhal. So Narwhal. So Narwhal was had been geeking out about this Forerunner that had gotten trapped and flipped upside down on Black Bear.
Yeah, it was like 2 days before we were there.
Yeah, and he had an LR3, and so he was a little bit worried that maybe like it wasn't able to get through the pass, and he'd been geeking out about it and talking to people, and he seemed not confident, but like he was going to try it. But we got down there, and that thing was sketchy. It was like a rock step that was so big that when we walked over it on our bikes, we were like, oh no, there's no way he's going to get this. No way. And honestly, were you with us? Cause we went
That's where the bougie photo came from.
Yes. We went down and waited and down by the waterfall. So we couldn't see it. I was like, I don't want to watch this if he goes falling over into the, cause it was sketchy. And, we waited like 45 minutes, and all of a sudden he came around the corner. It was like elation, like he had made it, like, cause we weren't sure if the vehicle was going to make it, but that was rad. And then That was super hard, but then we descended down into Telluride, and that descent was nuts too.
I got arm pump on that one.
How many brake pads did y'all go through on this trip?
Dude, the brakes.
Yeah, we swapped them 3 times, I think.
Yeah, they don't make brakes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great part of the story because we got to Telluride and we bought brake pads. Remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
We bought brake pads.
JJ blew out his brakes. Yeah.
And I got a set because my brakes were like, every time I pressed the brakes, like, it was so obnoxious. But so then we get in there and we ate lunch and we hung out in Telluride. And our day had been taken longer than we thought. And no joke, like it was the afternoon. Like it was legit afternoon. And we were doing the math on like we had to climb back up out of Telluride, straight up Imogene, and then descend off of Imogene, which is a good hour. And we were like, dude, it's going to be dark. Like we have got to go. And we finally pushed out of there and nobody knew what to expect, but it was hot. It was
brutal.
So hot. And we started climbing and the road's kind of rad. It just comes right out of Telluride and just starts going up the mountain. Well, since we had come down off of Black Bear, and I'm doing all the talking, but like this was insane. Like it was crazy. We went up into this heat and it was just brutal. And all I remember is we kind of were surging back and forth. Like people would stop and we'd meet. And then, and the vehicle was actually kind of behind everybody. But we got up into the top part of Imogene, like into the scree field and the old mines and all this stuff. And dude, you couldn't see the top. You didn't know where it was. We walked the whole thing. Like Mike and I and Justin just walked and walked and walked. And it's not like walking on a road. It's like straight up walking on boulders,
Boulders. And everywhere you look, it's just all those old mines that just just old structures that are falling apart and stuff. And you're just surrounded by red mountains. Yeah,
it's crazy.
And you really can't see the top. You think you see the top and you wonder if that's it, but it's not. Yeah.
And then eventually you kind of get up in the top of the bowl and you can see it, but it looks like, it's right there. But, oh no, it's another hour and a half of walking, to get there. I actually ended up, I was so devoid of energy and you had to just keep moving that by the time I got to the top, I didn't care. You were up there and you were taking a picture of me. And I was I didn't care. I wasn't going to fake it like I rode the top of it. I just walked it right on up and I wasn't interested in taking pictures. I wasn't interested in anything except for I figured that if I got on the bike to descend, that at least I could maybe make it back to the parking lot before it got dark, but it was pretty close. And I've told this story.
It's a little over 13,000 feet, so it's no joke.
It was cold. It was miserable.
It's super windy. We were all kind of huddling, trying to stay out of the wind. And then the big descent, and that descent was so gnarly.
Yes, it was. I had the best time doing that descent, and I loved it. And we made it back, and everything was great. And then I was like, I could totally go back and do it again. But I remember just in the middle of Imogene, I didn't hate Steven. That was what he was saying. Don't hate me. But I was saying in my head, okay, this is what it is. The experience was worth it in the end, but it was so freaking hard. And I would know what to expect now when I went back, but the walking that's why they say walk your donkey. Cause you gotta
that's where it comes from. Yeah. And then also, our 4th day. So everyone was pretty shot already, we're all pretty tired.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I have to go back and do it because I need redemption because I overheated so bad and had to be saved.
But you made the right call. You made the right call.
I was so cooked.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. So I still need to go back and get redemption on that one.
Sheldon, we're right on time. Episode 28 here with Sheldon. I didn't even let him talk or Jordan, so we're going to come back and try this again. I'm not going to ask any questions.
I like listening to Matt's stories.